how do you keep down there clean?
So how old were you when you got your first period?
When was your first kiss?
Should I wait until marriage to lose my virginity?
Our world, don't worry, darling.
Hi guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm here with my friend Cameron, and we are going to be answering questions that you all asked me on my Instagram. These questions are all about girl talk things, so I do want to make the disclaimer that these are just our opinions, and to please not get offended by anything we say. We're truthfully just trying to help you guys out, and this is a video that is more generated towards PG-13 and up, so also that disclaimer is needed as well. But with all that being said, if you want to subscribe, be sure to subscribe, give the video a huge thumbs up, and let's get into the video. Alright, so for the first question, we're going to keep it simple. When was your first kiss?
My first kiss was when I was 13 in my basement with my first boyfriend.
My first kiss, I was kind of older. I actually got so scared about everything because all my friends were having their first kiss, and I was a junior in high school and I still never had my first kiss. I wouldn't necessarily say it's because I didn't have the opportunity. It was more just because I was scared and I didn't really know what to do in the situation. But I was walking down the street and my ex-boyfriend ran up to me and we just had our first kiss like that. So not the best way, but whatever.
The next question is, have you ever tried a Brazilian wax?
So I haven't. I heard that it hurts really bad, but I also heard that it's worth it. Would I try it in the future? Yes. I don't not recommend it. I just personally haven't tried it. What about you?
Yeah, I haven't tried it, but I definitely want to. I kind of wanted to make it a monthly type thing with my sisters actually. So yeah, I would try it.
I feel like it would save a lot of time.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. How do you keep your face clean, like have no acne?
Oh, so I actually use a few products. I only wash my face in the morning and before I go to bed, but I use a few products. I usually do a face mask once a week, and that's basically it.
So for me, I struggled with acne a lot when I was little, and for years I could not figure out how to get it to go away. It just kept getting worse. Right now I use Axone, which is prescribed by a dermatologist, but all in all, if you just go to a store and get like a soap that is for acne prone skin, I think that that could help a lot. Also, keep in mind, don't overwash your face, but don't underwash your face, because when you wash your face too much, it dries out your skin and it's not good. I'm not certified in what I'm talking about, but that's just from my experience.
So how old were you when you got your first period?
Okay, so my story time of my first period, I was in 7th grade and I was in a play. I think it was Annie at the time, and I was just about to go on stage and all of a sudden I like felt weird. I started getting a lot of cramps and then I had to go to the bathroom, so I went to the bathroom really quick and it was just like all there. And I started freaking out. I called my mom and she was so happy. She bought me a box of chocolates. Aww. Yeah, it was kind of really sweet. And then my mom took me out to dinner. She was just so happy that I actually got my period. I'm not sure why, but it was a nice story time because I did get chocolates out of it, but it wasn't like a pleasant experience because I did have to perform in a play and I wasn't feeling the best.
Yeah, my first time was also in 7th grade. It was exactly on Christmas Day. I remember because I was wearing like black pants and I went to the bathroom and I was like, oh my god, like what's happening? And I was just in a terrible mood the rest of the Christmas, but it was fine.
How do you keep down there clean?
Number one is the shower. But what else? Like,
I feel like everyone kind of always has their own scent, and that's natural, but if it's more like overwhelming and you think it's a problem, you can either one, see if it's an infection because that may be an issue, or you can go to the doctor, see if they recommend something. But keep in mind that just because it smells doesn't necessarily mean that it's not normal, because everyone does have their own scent, but there's ways to like kind of tweak it a little and make it a little more freshening, I guess. And you could do that by showering, using the right products, always keeping wipes with you maybe if you feel like it's always smelling and everything like that.
Should I wait until marriage to lose my virginity?
I feel like this is more of a personal question. It kind of depends on your beliefs, so I'm not going to say yes and I'm not going to say no. I think that if you want to do that, there is nothing wrong with that, and you should always follow your heart.
Yeah, I agree. If you want to lose your virginity to your first boyfriend, if you want to lose your virginity to just anyone, you can do whatever you want. It's up to you. So personally, I chose to lose it beforehand, so.
It's all like an option, and I feel like no one should get judged for their choices. Just make sure that your significant other is respecting what you want. What is your opinion on sending nudes? Is it okay to do it?
I think it's okay to do it. I would just cover your face just in case you don't want it being spread around. You should send it to someone you trust. definitely someone you trust. But I definitely think it's okay to send.
Yeah, I think it's okay depending on the circumstances. If you don't know the person, I would suggest you don't. I'm not telling you you can't, but it may lead to screenshots and then spreading around the internet. It's important to remember that everything you post on the internet is there forever, no matter if you delete it or not. So before you actually send something, make sure you're positive that you want to. And as she said, make sure your face is not in it. Even if you have to like cover it with an emoji, just make sure your face isn't in it.
And to send it to someone that you trust. Like I wouldn't just send it to anybody, but is it scary to be in love?
I wouldn't say it's scary, but to a certain extent it is, depending on the situation. When you're about to go into a relationship, I would say it's something happy that everyone looks forward to. But as the relationship progresses, and if you see like red flags and if you see like some aspects that shouldn't be in a relationship, it definitely does get scary, because you may always be scared of losing that person and like falling out of love with that person, or that person falling out of love with you. But I wouldn't say let it scare you. Deal with it as it comes, and like always take that risk if you feel like it's something worth fighting for.
Yeah, I also think it's pretty scary though, because you're like letting your guard down and just being with somebody that you fully like love. It's very scary. I think it's very scary.
Yeah.
But overall, I think in the long run, it's worth it. And just like don't overthink anything and just go with it and see what happens.
Yeah, go with the flow and be very chill about it at the beginning. What's a good age to get into a relationship?
Once you find the right person. I don't think there should be an age. I was 13 with my first relationship, but I would say it gets like more serious as you get older, because like now even like my high school relationships I don't consider to be as serious as like my current one. But I think it's like whenever you find the right person.
Yeah, I think when you're in middle school or high school, it's okay to date people and like date around, but it's more important in high school and in college to only say yes to something if you want to be serious and if you're looking to get married to that person. Because at the end of the day, if you say yes to someone and you're not ready, or they're not ready, or they don't want to be married and you do, or vice versa, you're either going to get hurt or they're going to get hurt, and it's just like setting the relationship up for failure. So just keep that in mind.
I also think they're all like learning experiences too though. So.
Yeah, definitely. The more you get hurt, unfortunately, the more you grow and the more you realize what you want. So even though getting hurt is something awful that I wish no one could experience, it happens and it will make you stronger.
Yeah. How do I know who the right person is? I would say the right person makes you happy and you're okay with being yourself around them. They treat you right.
Yeah, I think that ultimately you'll know if it's the right person. You have to make sure that they have all the aspects that you're looking for in a relationship, but also make sure that there's someone that's going to make you laugh. There's someone that's not going to make you question your worth, because your worth should never be questioned. Do you use birth control, and should they?
I use birth control. Maybe like 2-3 years ago I started using birth control, only because I thought it was like time for me to use it. But I don't think like you should if you don't feel like you have to. It's all up to you. It's all like on your preference. It all depends.
Yeah, I think it's also important to mention that some people think birth control is a way of protection. It only protects you against pregnancy. It doesn't protect you around anything else. It's only for pregnancy. So if you're asking, should I use birth control to be protected from certain diseases? No. But if you're asking, should I use birth control to avoid pregnancy? That's kind of like a you decision. It kind of also depends on your age. If you're at a young age, I do think you should ask your parents, because there are a lot of side effects to birth control. And if you don't know you have a health condition, that may be an issue. So definitely go to a doctor or a free clinic or something like that. And if you're under the age, I would say of like 17, definitely ask a parent.
How do I ask my mom to go on birth control?
So when I asked my mom to go on birth control, it was more because I had to. I have a condition called PCOS, and I just wasn't getting my period at a certain point in my life, but I knew that I was not pregnant. I knew it was like something was wrong with my body, and the only way to regulate my body was to go on birth control. So when I went on birth control, it was more like my mom telling me, Sam, I think you should go on birth control to regulate it. I don't know. What about you?
I mean, I didn't really ask my mom. I was already 18, so I figured, you know, I think it's time. I'm just going to do it. I did tell her, but she was okay with whatever my decision was. But if you want to ask your mom, go ahead, or your dad. Maybe explain to them why you want to,
I think it's important to tell them at least why. It's better to always have your parents' consent when you're younger, just because, again, you don't know what could happen. Also, even though I recommend that you ask your parents when you're underage, you don't have to. There are free clinics that allow you to get birth control without a parent's consent. The only issue with that is if you're going under their insurance, it will be billed to them. So that's why I say, like, they should know what they're paying for. How do I tell if someone's interested in me?
Oh, I could never tell, so I can't even tell you, because the person can literally be like, I like you, and I'm like, I don't know if they're interested in me or not. But I would say, like, from looking at everybody else's, like, point of view, I would say if the person texts you a lot, if they want to be with you, spend time with you, just like little things like that. Even if they don't text you a lot, it's just like showing that they're interested by like commenting on your pictures or anything like small like that.
Yeah, it's more like small signs that you can take as them liking you. If they're showing interest, they most likely like you. If they're showing less interest and only interest in other things, it may just be for
like a friendly interest rather than a like romantic interest.
Yeah.
Should I use Summer's Eve?
So for those of you who don't know, Summer's Eve is something that you can use down there to kind of make it more clean and fresh. I don't recommend Summer's Eve because anything with like a fruity smell or anything like that isn't very good if it gets like inside. If it's on the outside, it's okay, but I don't recommend it just because I know that there's a lot of problems with Summer's Eve. So can you use it? I don't want to say no, but I'm not recommending it.
Maybe talk to like your gynecologist. Maybe they'll have suggestions.
How much should people in a relationship hang out? What's a healthy balance?
I think that all depends on the couple, because I'm not the type of person that wants to hang out every single day. So maybe for me, 2 or 3 times a week. It depends on what you want to do. But like if you have work, if you have school, it's like kind of hard to hang out every day. But I know some people that like hang out almost every day. It's just like up to you and your significant other.
Yeah, it's more like you have to find a balance for the two of you, not siding for one person. For example, if you're someone who wants to hang out with them every day and he's someone or she is someone who does not want to hang out every day, you can kind of meet in the middle and find a balance. Communication is key, so as long as you work together, you should be able to work it out.
Yeah, and also like make time for yourself, make time for your friends.
Don't cut out your friends.
Yeah.
Please. Please don't do that.
How do I get over a heartbreak?
So there's a lot of different coping mechanisms that a lot of people use. My number one thing that I do is I listen to music and try to distract myself by hanging out with my friends, going on drives, going on adventures. I wouldn't say that these are ways to get over a heartbreak. Really getting over a heartbreak is just with time, but it's important to keep yourself active and keep yourself distracted in order to not be sad at all moments of the day.
Yeah, I totally agree. Also, I just like to cry it out. That always makes me feel so much better. But also like hanging out with friends, hanging out with family, even eventually going on dates again helps me feel better too.
Yeah.
But it does take time, so you could do anything you want. Sometimes it's still hard.
Don't be afraid to cry. I know some people are afraid of crying or don't like crying, but like she said, sometimes just letting it all out is the way to get over it faster.
Yeah.
What do you do if a boy is grossed out by your period?
Then he's not the boy for you.
I mean, it's a normal thing. I don't think anyone should be grossed out by it. It's not like you're the only person who has it. All in all, they have to get used to it eventually, and if they're someone who is going to break up with you for that reason, they're not the person for you. How do I know if my period is on its way?
Since I'm on birth control, I know when my period is on its way, but if you're not on birth control, I would say maybe you start to cramp, maybe you're a little moody.
I mean, for some people, there's like a week before where they get cramps, where they get cravings, breakouts. So there's ways to tell. For some people, they have no idea of telling. Yeah. I mean, there's apps that you can track it on. I think a good app is called like Period Tracker, and it'll tell you when you're supposed to get your period. It's not always 100% accurate.
Should I freak out if my period is late?
It depends how late. It depends on if you are someone who could have a scare, depending on if you had sex or not. And it depends on if you're on birth control. With birth control, there is an option that you may not get your period. It depends on how your body reacts to the birth control and what birth control you're on. If you're not on birth control and you didn't use protection and you're scared that you may be pregnant, I don't want to say you should freak out, but you should definitely take a test and take precaution and see what's going on. I would never say to wait it out because it's better that you know sooner rather than later. What's a good age to have your first kiss?
I would say a good age to have your first kiss is whenever you feel like you're ready. Mine was in middle school, so yours was in high school. So whenever you think it's the right time.
Yeah, don't feel pressured. Just because your friends are having their first kisses earlier doesn't mean that you have to.
Yeah.
For me, like I said earlier, all my friends were having their first kisses and I just wasn't. It's not because I couldn't, it's just because I wasn't ready. So it's all about when you're ready, when you're comfortable, and when you're ready to get yourself out there.
Are you scared of the side effects of birth control?
Okay, I was terrified of the side effects. I personally looked up every single side effect and kind of like imagined myself having them, even though I wasn't. I would say don't look up the symptoms, but be aware of them. If you're someone who gets very freaked out by knowing symptoms and kind of like imagines yourself having them, don't do what I did. Don't look them up, but if you physically feel something wrong with your body, definitely talk to a doctor. Definitely get off of the birth control as soon as possible. If the doctor says to, like, don't stay on it if you're told not to. With birth control, the only real way to know if it's gonna work for you is by trying it out.
Yeah, I didn't really experience too many like side effects. The only side effect I would say is I got a little moody, but the one side effect I was really scared of was gaining weight. But overall, just talk to your doctor and it should be fine.
And also, I know that a lot of people, like you said, are scared of gaining weight, and I was terrified of it. And on my first birth control that I was on, I gained so much weight, and it was because of my PCOS. The two didn't work well together, and it took me 1.5 years to get off of it, just because I was scared of trying a new birth control. But all in all, the best advice I could give you is if you see a problem or you see yourself gaining weight and you don't like it, even though there's nothing wrong with gaining weight, if it's making you unhappy and it's making you moody, definitely get off of it. Do you think cheating is okay/forgivable?
No.
Yeah, no.
I don't think there's any reason to cheat. I feel like if you're feeling some type of way, then talk to your partner rather than hurt them. Like, I wouldn't forgive.
Trust is something really important in a relationship, and honestly, when someone cheats on you, trust is kind of broken. So you can forgive someone eventually, but I don't recommend getting back into a relationship with them if you can't gain that trust back. I personally have been cheated on more than once, and it's not a good feeling, and it's really hard to get over. So coming from someone who has been cheated on, even though everyone's opinions and outlooks on it are different, I personally don't think it's easy to continue that relationship.
How do you not be clingy in a relationship? Maybe spend time with your friends, get other hobbies.
Take time for yourself and don't shut out the outside world around you. Meaning, like she said, go hang out with your friends, go take time and go on a run, go on a walk.
Just do what you would do normally, but just remember, like, you have somebody else to care for.
It's all about balance, so don't always be texting them 24/7 of the day if they're not texting you 24/7 of the day. If you guys are both those type of people who like to cling to each other, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's always healthy once in a while to take that break. What's your opinion on period sex? I personally don't like it, but there's nothing wrong with liking it. It's just kind of like a preference, and for me, I don't like it.
I don't think I would mind it, but also, like, it's kind of messy.
Yeah, I never like tried it.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming I wouldn't like it because of the messiness of it. I feel like it's a lot of work to clean up. But again, like, if you're someone who likes it, there's nothing wrong with that.
Is it weird if a girl proposes to a guy?
It's not weird. I think it's more traditional if a guy proposes to a girl. It's definitely not weird. It's just a little more out there, and I think that that's amazing if you actually have the guts to do that, because I would never be able to.
I would never be able to, but that'd be awesome.
That takes so much confidence. Like, if you can do that, props to you. That's about it for this video. If you guys liked it, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content. Leave us a comment down below on if you want a part 2, or if you have any more questions for us, we would love to answer them. I will have Kamryn's Instagram on the screen as well in the description box down below. Be sure to follow us both, and again, like this video because it was her first time on camera and she did really well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.
In my world, I don't worry, darling. I just smile